The mind does not choose freedom. The mind chooses what feels safe. And safety, for most people, is just a set of instructions handed down before they could speak. Rules about work, rules about respect, rules about waiting your turn and keeping your head down and being grateful for what you get. These rules live under the skin. They control breathing patterns. They decide when the body feels fear and when it feels cruel. No one writes them down anymore, but everyone follows them. And the people who do not follow them are called dangerous. A child learns early that obedience brings quiet rooms and soft voices. Disobedience brings slammed doors and raised voices, and that look of disappointment that cuts deeper than any punishment. The nervous system locks this pattern in place before the age of 7, long before logic or self-awareness. By the time a person can ask why they feel stuck, the answer is already baked into their posture, their hesitation before speaking, their habit of apologizing for things that are not their fault. These are not personality quirks. These are survival programs running on old hardware. Consider the job that does not pay enough. The person who stays for 5 years, then 7, then 12. They tell themselves it is practical. The bills are paid. The health insurance is decent. But watch their face when they talk about it. The way the eyes drop to the floor. The way the voice goes flat. That is the feeling of a rule they cannot name. The rule that says good people do not quit. The rule that says loyalty will be rewarded eventually. The rule that says leaving is failure, and failure is worse than suffering. So they stay. And the stain becomes a kind of slow dying that no one calls by its real name. The same pattern shows up in relationships that have been dead for years. 2 people sharing a house but not a life. Polite conversations about groceries and school pickups and whose turn it is to call the plumber. No fights, no passion. Just the quiet hum of 2 machines running a program called "This is what you do." The rule says marriage is forever. The rule says you made a promise. The rule says breaking things makes you the bad person. So neither one leaves. And the years pile up like unpaid debts. And the body knows. The tight shoulders. The shallow breathing. The dreams about running that end right before the feeling of escape. Schools teach compliance better than they teach anything else. Sit still. Raise your hand. Wait for the bell. Submit your work on time. Do not question the grade. The students who excel are not the smartest ones. They are the most obedient ones. They learn to trade their curiosity for approval. And that trade feels good at first. Gold stars. Praise from teachers. Parents who smile at parent-teacher conferences. But the cost shows up later. In the 28-year-old who cannot make a decision without calling 3 people for permission. In the 35-year-old who stays in a career they hate because someone told them college was the only path. The obedience becomes invisible. Like glasses you forget you're wearing. Look at how people react when someone breaks a small social rule. A person who leaves a job without another one lined up. A person who ends a friendship that stops serving them. A person who moves to a new city just because they want to. The reaction from others is almost always the same. Shock first, then concern, then a subtle withdrawal as if rule breaking is contagious and they might catch it. This reaction is not about caring. It is about self-protection. Every person who breaks a rule reminds everyone watching that the rules are optional. And that thought terrifies the obedient mind more than almost anything else. The financial system runs on outdated rules. Work 40 hours a week for 40 years. Save 10%. Buy a house. Retire at 65. That formula worked for one generation under specific economic conditions that no longer exist. But the rule persists. People still repeat it at dinner parties. Still judge themselves against it. Still feel like failures when they cannot make it work. Meanwhile, the people who actually build wealth operate on completely different rules. They change careers every 2 years for better pay. They move to lower-class countries. They start businesses that fail 3 times before one works. They break every rule the obedient person holds sacred. And the obedient person watches from their underfunded retirement account and says, "That is too risky." The fear of what others think is the strongest rule of all. It is not the fear of real danger. A person is not going to be physically attacked for choosing a different life. The fear is social. The fear is being talked about, being seen as strange, being excluded from the group. This fear evolved in a time when being alone meant death, but that time is long gone. A person can survive perfectly well without the approval of co-workers or distant relatives or neighbors who never speak to them anywhere. But the rule says otherwise. The rule says reputation is everything. The rule says what people think matters. So millions of people stay in lives they do not want because they cannot stand the idea of someone whispering about them in a kitchen somewhere. The parents are a special case. Most people carry their parents' rules long after their parents' opinions should matter. A 40-year-old still seeking approval from a father who never gave it. A 50-year-old still trying to prove something to a mother who died 10 years ago. The rule says you owe them. The rule says you must make them proud. The rule says their judgment overrides your own happiness. And because that rule was installed so early and so deeply, it feels like truth rather than progress. But watch what happens when someone finally breaks it. The first time they say, "I do not care what my parents think," and need it, something shifts in their posture. Their voice gets stronger. Their choices get clearer. The relief is immediate and physical. The workplace enforces obedience through 1,000 tiny punishments. The meeting that could have been an email. The performance review that ducks points for being difficult, when difficult, just means asking questions. The promotion given to the yes person, while the person with real ideas stays in the same role for years. These are not accidents. Systems are designed to reward compliance and punish independence. The most successful companies know this. They do not want thinkers. They want doers. People who will execute the plan without wondering if the plan is any good. And the system works because the system makes breaking the rules expensive. A person who speaks up risks being fired. And being fired means losing health insurance. And losing health insurance means one accident away from bankruptcy. So the mouth stays shut. And the rule stays strong. The dating world has its own set of outdated rules. Wait 3 days to call. Do not seem too eager. Let them chase you. Play hard to get. These rules made sense in a world without cell phones and social media. But people still follow them, still run the same scripts, still get the same disappointing results. And when something does not work, they do not question the rule. They blame themselves. I must have done it wrong. Maybe I waited 4 days instead of 3. Maybe I seemed too available. The rule becomes the unchallengeable truth. And the person becomes smaller, trying to fit inside it. The education system teaches that learning has an end point. High school, college, a degree, a certification. Then you are done. Then you know enough. Then you can stop. This is one of the most destructive rules in modern life. Learning is not a phase. It is a survival skill. The world changes faster than any school curriculum. A person who stops learning at 22 is obsolete by 30. Not because they are stupid, because the rules of their industry changed while they were still following the old ones. The successful people are not the ones who followed the education rules. They are the ones who broke them, who kept learning, who read books their professors never assigned, who taught themselves skills their degree did not cover. The health and fitness industry runs on obedience rules too. Eat this, do not eat that. Exercise exactly this way. Do exactly these reps. Follow exactly this plan. And if you fail, the failure is yours. You lacked discipline. You lacked willpower. You did not want it badly enough. But watch the people who actually transform their bodies. They do not follow rules. They understand principles. They know that calories matter more than meal timing, that consistency matters more than perfection, that the best workout is the one they will actually do. They break every specific rule while respecting the underlying physics. And they succeed while the rule followers bounce from diet to diet, always searching for the perfect plan that does not exist. The rule that hurts the most is the rule about suffering. The idea that hard work must be painful, that growth requires misery, that if it feels good, you are doing something wrong. This rule turns work into a kind of penance, keeps people in bad jobs because they think leaving would be the easy way out, keeps people in bad relationships because they think love is supposed to hurt, keeps people grinding away at strategies that are not working because stopping feels like giving up. But here is the truth the rule hides. The most effective work does not feel like work. The best relationships do not feel like effort. The fastest growth happens in a state of engagement, not endurance. The rule says the struggle is the point. The rule is wrong. The people who escape the trap do not escape by trying harder. They escape by realizing that trap is made of rules they did not choose. They start asking one question that the obedient mind never asks. Why? Why am I doing this job? Why am I in this relationship? Why do I care what these people think? Why does this feel so hard? Why am I following this rule? The question is dangerous. That is why most people never ask it. Asking why leads to answers. Answers lead to choices. Choices lead to actions that other people will judge. And the fear of judgment keeps the question unasked for decades. But the question does not care about fear. It sits there in the back of the mind, waiting. And the longer it waits, the heavier it gets. Watch what happens when someone finally asks why about their career. They realize they took the job because their parents said it was stable. They stayed because their friends said it was smart. They never once asked themselves what they actually wanted. The realization is not comfortable. It comes with anger. Anger at the parents. Anger at the friends. Anger at themselves for being so obedient for so long. But that anger is fuel. It burns away the old rules. And what remains underneath is something most people have not felt since childhood. The simple knowledge of what they actually want, not what they should want, what they want. The same moment happens in relationships. A person wakes up one day and asks why they are still there. And the answer is not love. The answer is habit. The answer is fear. The answer is the rule that says leaving is failure. But once the question is asked, the rule starts to crack. They notice things they ignored before. The way their body tenses before their partner walks in the room. The way they feel lighter when their partner is away. The way they make excuses to spend time alone. These are not signs of a good relationship. These are signs of a survival program running on empty. And the only way to stop the program is to stop following the rule that says you have to stay. The friendship rule is just as powerful. The idea that friends are forever, that you owe loyalty to anyone who has known you long enough. This rule keeps people trapped in friendships that drained them years ago. The friend who only calls when they need something. The friend who makes every conversation about themselves. The friend who gets jealous whenever anything good happens to you. The obedient person stays, keeps answering the phone, keeps making plans, keeps feeling exhausted after every interaction. But the person who asks why realizes something uncomfortable. They are not staying out of friendship. They are staying out of guilt. And guilt is not a good reason to keep someone in your life. The most hidden rule is the rule about time. The idea that it is too late to change, too late to start over, too late to learn something new, too late to leave. This rule is pure poison, and it is also completely false. A person can change careers at 40, start a business at 50, learn an instrument at 60, fall in love at 70. The only thing that makes it too late is believing it is too late. The rule exists to keep people stuck, to keep them in their place, to keep them obedient until they die. And it works, because most people never test it. They just assume it is true. And the assumption becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The people who break free are not special. They are not smarter or stronger or more talented. They just stopped obeying rules that were never true to begin with. They saw the trap for what it was. A collection of old instructions installed by people who did not have to live with the consequences. They asked why until the whys stopped making sense. And then they acted. Not perfectly, not bravely. Often scared and uncertain and doubting themselves the whole time. But they acted anyway. And the acting broke the rule more effectively than any amount of thinking ever could. The ultimate question is not whether you are trapped. The trap is obvious. The question is whether you are ready to see the trap for what it is. The rules you follow are not laws of nature. They are not moral truths. They are not even good advice most of the time. They are just old programs running in the background. And programs can be rewritten, not with motivation, not with positive thinking, not with a vision board, with the simple act of asking why, and then asking it again, and then asking it one more time, until the rule crumbles, and the only thing left is the truth you knew before anyone told you how to live.